Town meeting season is quickly approaching. Tuesday, March 7th, is the official day when voters will head to the polls to weigh in on town and school district budgets. In Arlington, voters will be able to attend an informational meeting on Monday, March 6th, beginning at 6:30 p.m. at the Arlington Memorial High School, to discuss the proposed town and school district budgets and transact some business from the floor. Voting by Australian ballot on the other articles will be held on Tuesday, March 7th, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the high school. To learn more about what voters in Arlington will be asked to vote on, we met up with Town Administrator Nick Zayas to give us a walk through the high points of the proposed town budget and discuss articles that will appear on the town warning.
So the total expenditures for the coming year are gonna be right about $1.8 million, and not too far off of what last year's number was. So some important highlights in this budget are wage adjustments to make sure that we're keeping up with inflation for town staff and for materials. The biggest singular change is an increase in the gravel budget, because we've heard from taxpayers that road quality is absolutely paramount, and that if we are to maintain our road quality, we're going to need to be applying more gravel. And gravel prices have gone up, so we certainly need to make sure that our purchasing power in that gravel line item at minimum is staying where it was, but really is seeing an increase in the total tonnage of gravel that we're going to buy this year and apply to our town roads. Some of that will be offset by grant funding and other special projects that we'll see money back from the state. But our goal is to make sure that we're both taking care of our people and taking care of our infrastructure by buying the correct amount of materials and paying our people an appropriate rate.
You said the tax increase would be likely around 5%?
Right around 5% after wage adjustments and healthcare changes and all of that. So about 5% in total taxes. And I'll also note that that does cover some important areas where we're making investments in things that people care about. Improved paving on the roads, better park equipment, better and more equipment for the firefighters. So things that are priorities, that have been priorities for the town, that we know that we need to do if we are to keep our facilities up and going and being held those standards that Arlingtonians rightfully are holding them to. So we have three functional articles this year that are new and new and changing and non-regular. So one will be allocating some money that was previously allocated by taxpayers from a closed organization to a park fund that will resolve this accounting matter that's been hanging on our books. One, which is much more interesting, is that we will be creating or authorizing the town to have town credit cards subject to a credit card policy. That'll allow us to buy things online and, importantly, not have town staff use personal credit cards to pay for things on behalf of the government for reimbursement. We want to make sure that the accounting for buying online and accessing services that we can only access with credit cards via and online purchasing are done in the best way we possibly can. And then a third item is we're going to be establishing a fire building fund that will be setting aside money for the maintenance of the firehouses in the town. We have, after our recent actions to acquire the West Arlington Firehouse from the Arlington Fire Company, we certainly want to be saving in future years to pay for its future maintenance. If we ever acquire the East Arlington station, that would pay for that, and it would also allow us to start saving for a new fire building if voters see fit. So those are the three novel articles that are on the town meeting warning. There are very few changes to the balloted articles this year. The library successfully petitioned for a $2,000 increase in its budget or in its appropriation, And then we did make an increase in the fire trucks fund to make sure that we're staying on our capital plan to fund the replacement of our next fire truck in anticipation of our new fire truck arriving in about a month. Something for taxpayers to get excited about.
We then met up with Todd Wilkins, the chairman of the Arlington School Board, for a similar walk through their budget proposal.
And so bottom line total this year is it's going to be $8,142,943. That's about a $730,000 increase over last year, just shy of 10%. It's about a 9% increase, which is significant and probably the largest increase that we have ever put forward out of any budget.
And what accounts for what's driving that increase?
Well, 414,000 of that is an increase in our assessments from the SVSU. So that's better than 50%. It's like 57% of that increase. And the other 300,000 is really to your normal stuff. You have to give your staff raises. As everybody knows, the costs associated with everything are up. Supplies are up. Fuel oil's up. Everybody in their own homes are feeling the increase in it, that we're no different. So you have to increase those line items. So locally, you're looking at about a $300,000 increase, but your assessment's up 414, which really makes up that total increase.
And so what impact will that have on then the town's tax rate for the school budget?
Yeah, so we're looking at about an 8 cent. It's like an 8.01 cent, if I'm going off my memory correctly here, about an 8 cent increase in your tax rate, which will make your predicted tax rate at $1.48. Last year we're at $1.40, which ended up being 5 cents lower than we anticipated. So with a little bit of finger crossing, we're hoping that maybe we'll get that lucky this year. I can't guarantee that though, because the state doesn't come out with that until later on in the year. It is still down from over 4 years ago when we were at $1.52. We're still lower than that. But the board had to do a lot of work with our principals to get that number even down that low. Initially, when the budgets first started out, we were looking at almost a 21 cent increase in taxes. And we just said that's absolutely impossible. We can't put that toward, our voters. So the principals really worked hard at making some cuts. We were able to get some of the things that we wanted, into grants. For example, there's going to be a new reading specialist at the elementary school. We have some increase in guidance, things like that. We also didn't want to cut any programs or personnel here. There's a high needs here of kids. We wanted to make sure that we kept our social work program intact. We wanted to make sure that we kept all of our teachers intact, because those are the most important people in educating our kids, and we certainly did not want to cut any of those programs or positions.
There were also competitive races for 2 of the school board seats. Incumbent Matt Bukowski is being challenged by Terry Wilcox-Sweet for election to a 3-year term on the Arlington School Board. Incumbent board member Dan Wood is facing a challenge from Alexander Burke for election to a 2-year term. Over on the select board, incumbent Dan Harvey is running unopposed for re-election to a 2-year term, and Todd Wilkins, the school board chairman, who is also a member of the select board, is running unopposed for another 3-year term there. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.